Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Kaylee and today I am sharing with you how I went to New York Fashion Week with less than 10,000 followers. So I have my laptop right here because I'm going to be reading off some of the questions that you guys submitted on Instagram so that I can hopefully answer everything and give a really thorough picture of how actually kind of easy it is to get into shows at New York Fashion Week, collaborate with brands without being super famous. So first of all, there is a misconception that you need to have like 100,000 followers or be a celebrity to go to New York Fashion Week. It's totally not true. This was my first time going as a content creator to New York Fashion Week. I had been before, but I was working on the brand side. And so I kind of had no idea what to expect and what kind of shows or events I'd be able to get into. I really just booked the trip on a whim and then was like, I gotta figure it out. So I was honestly really surprised by how much I was able to do with only having, at the time, 6,800 followers, I believe. Since being in New York for Fashion Week, my profile views tripled and I got like 150 new followers within the 5 days that I was there, simply just from like posting amazing content, networking with people, meeting new people, having brands and shows repost me. So this is kind of the whole reason why I wanted to go to New York Fashion Week in the first place, was to create really amazing content, but also to just like meet new people, network, and grow my audience actually organically, which yes, is still possible in 2019 on Instagram. So I'm gonna break this video up into 3 categories. We have hotel, clothes, and shows. So these are the categories that I've been getting a lot of questions in, and hopefully I will answer your questions in these 3 categories. So first, let's start with the hotel. The first question that I got was, did you get a sponsored hotel for your trip? My answer is no, I actually didn't. And I actually didn't try to either. When I was booking this trip, I kind of in my head had the idea that because it's New York Fashion Week in September, which is probably one of the busiest times of the year in New York ever, where every single influencer is basically trying to be there and get a free stay, I was like, I don't even want to bother trying to pitch hotels because I don't think that I'm gonna get anything. What I will say is that I have heard that February New York Fashion Week is a lot easier to get sponsored anything, sponsored hotel, getting into shows, all of that, just because it is miserable weather in New York and nobody really wants to be there. And so it's like a way less busy time of year, a busier fashion week. So if you're trying to get a sponsored hotel stay, I would definitely try for February, but no. Tip, I used Expedia free cancellation booking. And so basically I found a really great hotel in an awesome location about a month and a half in advance of Fashion Week. I booked it. At this point in time, I didn't know who I was going to Fashion Week with. I knew that I couldn't afford this entire hotel stay, but afterwards I posted on my Instagram and basically spent like 2 weeks just networking and posting and seeing if anybody wanted to come to Fashion Week with me and split the hotel. So I would definitely say if you're an up-and-coming blogger or content creator, the easiest and smartest thing to do is to travel with other content creators who want to split a hotel room with you. It's going to be less stress than pitching hotels. And basically in my head, I was like, I want to stay in a really great spot in a great location because I know it's going to be a crazy week. So I was very specific about booking the hotel that I was at, Hotel 50 Bowery. I didn't want to worry about pitching hotels during this time because I was already pitching brands and shows, and a lot of it was already up in the air. So I just committed to myself that I was going to pay, I think it was 600 Canadian each, so per person that was staying in the hotel. There was 4 of us girls splitting, and that was for 5 nights. So it was actually a pretty good deal to be staying like right in New York. I would definitely recommend staying as close as you can to the shows because there is so many things going on during that week that you don't want to be Ubering everywhere. Like, it gets really expensive to Uber in New York. So my theory was to book a hotel as close to things as we could so that we could walk to as many places as we could, save money that way. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, so let's move on to the second category, which is clothes. A big question I got was, what do you wear to Fashion Week? Did you buy all these new outfits to take with you? And so my answer is no, I did not buy all these new outfits to take with me to Fashion Week. I pitched brands so that I could wear their clothing at Fashion Week, and I got a bunch of gifted clothing. So about 4 to 5 weeks prior to getting to New York for Fashion Week, I started pitching brands. And I basically made a list of brands either that I had worked with before or that I really wanted to work with. My other biggest tip is to be very specific when pitching brands for anything really, but specifically for this. I was very specific about wanting to do a sustainability series on both my Instagram and podcast all around fashion sustainability during Fashion Week. So my whole angle with New York Fashion Week was talking about sustainable designers, how the fashion industry can be more sustainable. And so because I had a very specific thing in mind, I approached small, independent, sustainable designers and basically asked them if they wanted to be a part of this very specific type of Fashion Week content. Honestly, I got a huge amount of yeses. One, because it's Fashion Week and everybody wants their stuff featured in New York and during Fashion Week. I actually got so many packages that I was not able to shoot them all in New York during Fashion Week, so I have to finish shooting them here, which was kind of wild to me. I did probably 2 or 3 outfit changes a day while I was in New York and still had so much gifted product that I couldn't shoot it all. So that part was really easy. I found that the only thing was making sure you're pitching brands far enough in advance that they can say yes, commit, back and forth a little bit, get your shipping info, ship the product, and then you have time to pack it for New York. Because there was 2 instances that I actually didn't receive the packages on time before I left for New York. So that would be the main thing that I say is make sure you're pitching brands far enough in advance that you receive the products in time for New York. But no, don't feel like you have to go out and buy a ton of new outfits. It's just completely unnecessary. And there's so many brands out there that want their stuff featured in New York and featured during Fashion Week. So that was the route that I took for that. Okay, so the final category is the shows. And this is the obviously number one thing that I got questions about. But I wanted to break this down and mention that it's not only shows that are happening during Fashion Week, but also a ton of different events. So obviously brands know that people from all over the world, influencers, celebrities are going to be in New York during Fashion Week. And so not only are they putting on runway shows, but there's also pop-up shops, activations, wellness lounges, just so many things. So I think when you are planning your New York Fashion Week trip, don't just think about the runway shows. Obviously, those are super, super fun and really cool, but there's also so many other different types of events that are easier to get into a lot of the times that will make your experience just as fun or more so. So the big questions I received were, how do you get invites to shows, and can you pay to go to shows? Did it cost you anything? So the first answer, how to get invites to shows, basically email as many PR people as you can. So about 2 to 4 weeks prior to going to New York Fashion Week, I started sending emails to first within my network, all of the brands that I've worked with before, any PR person that I know, agencies that I've worked with before, basically asking them if they're doing anything during New York Fashion Week, if they have any events, activations, shows, and if they could keep me in mind for an invite. So I'd start within my network. Then I did a big Google search. Obviously you can Google New York Fashion Week and the different shows that are happening on the main stage, but there's also so many other smaller events, smaller designers, different side independent shows that are way easier to get into. So I did a ton of research, probably a night or 2 nights of just researching brands, contacts, going through their website, going through their Instagram, seeing who is the PR agency putting on X, Y, and Z show, just like do the work and find the right people to contact and then send out a ton of emails. When it comes to the emails asking for invites to shows, I was not super specific. I did not send a media kit. I tried to keep it as short, simple, and to the point as I could, because these PR people are going through hundreds, if not thousands of emails. So I was trying to just like get to the point of who I was. Here's my Instagram. Would love to cover the show on my Instagram story. That was it. It was like 3 lines basically. And then the final way that I got invites for shows, and this is like my #1 secret tip that I think nobody ever thinks of doing this, but I found this super effective, was going on Eventbrite and filtering the search on Eventbrite to New York during the dates that I was going to be there with the keywords fashion or fashion week. Eventbrite generated like dozens of pages of events. Basically in the description on Eventbrite, it will say like, if you have any questions about this event, contact this person. So there would be all these like independent shows, small designer shows. So I would find that contact person in the Eventbrite description and then email them and ask them for a press pass. So that was actually like surprisingly really effective, and that's how I got maybe 2 or 3 of the events that I got accepted to, one of which ended up being my favorite event while I was there. And I would never even know that some of these events were happening because they get really overshadowed by the larger main stage New York Fashion Week. But that's a hack that I just think nobody thinks of doing, and it was so effective. So you can steal that from me now. Okay, so I think I answered all the questions. If I missed anything and you do have any further questions about, I don't know, anything New York Fashion Week related, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. And I am already planning my trip for February because having gone in September, it was so much fun, and I also like grew my following so much, got really great content, have been developing these great relationships with brands. So if you are an up-and-coming influencer, content creator, blogger, photographer, whatever, and you want to come to New York Fashion Week with me, follow me on Instagram because I'll be posting all about it once I have like my plans set. I think that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much, and until next time, bye!